Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the 201st edition of Cinema Effect. It's a new era, which means we have to do something different. I don't know what, but maybe, I don't know, Jaden. It's Jaden. Hello. You going to do something different?
Change me.
Yeah. Well, I just thought, I can't do the same
spring it
old
on me.
intro.
You need an intro. You need to tell me before.
True. Yeah.
Maybe, new nicknames times, maybe. It's been 200 episode.
Right.
Completely abandon the old ones. Bring in something new. Or maybe we start introing you, and we bring in all your shit.
Right.
ZDF. Secaz.
Okay. Yeah.
That kid from Unforgiven. What is it? Unforgiven.
Oh, Jerry Maguire.
What was his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. The Sheffield kid or some shit?
Yeah, something like that.
Schofield.
Oh, the Schofield.
Yeah.
I was thinking the Milky Way kid, but I was like, that's a different thing entirely.
Oh, God.
Yeah, maybe it's now when we permanently hand hosting duties off to me and Liam.
I'm very happy to do that. No. Well, I mean, so at 101, I changed the thumbnail and the.
Is that when it happened?
Yeah, and the intro music. So it's like, you know what I mean? Is there pressure to do that again? I'm not. To be clear, I've got no intention of doing that again because I quite like them how they are now. I'm fine with it. So
yeah, we can workshop something.
Yeah, sure. You can hear the intent in my voice. And oh shit, okay. So Liam's new nickname. Well, do you like the crow's nickname? Did you like that? Or the magpie one, sorry.
Oh, he might not have listened to that.
No?
Was that in Walkabout?
Yeah, did you hear my nickname for
No, I just skipped the Walkabout discussion because I just went to the end, sorry.
True. So it was the leader of the war on the magpies. Liam. Okay.
Because he got fucking attacked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that name.
You like my? Okay. You like? I've known quite a few people that's happened to, Liam, so don't feel ashamed about it.
Oh, it's okay. I didn't really even think that I was attacked until people told me afterwards. Because it wasn't that trauma. It didn't feel like it just landed on my head. Like I was just a spot for it to exist on for a second, and then it flew away. But
that's how they get your eyes.
Yeah.
That
is scary.
I don't like that at all. I just had this idea. What about if, like, one episode we turned up and, like, we were each sitting in like another in each other's rooms? You know what I mean? Well, we just don't
acknowledge it.
Yeah. That'd be good.
But had we been establishing the precedent of the room we're sitting in for 100 episodes, it might be more effective,
Yeah. So we've got to wait a few more episodes.
Yeah,
maybe 301.
Yeah.
Jesus. That's in 2026, guys. All right. Anyway, that's scary. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Cinema Effect, the podcast where we review and talk about a different movie every single Monday. And this week, that movie is I'm Not There, which opened in the US on December 7th, 2007. 2007, Jaden. It's back.
Yeah, wasn't this already on Liam's list?
No.
Possibly.
No.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, you hadn't seen it, so yeah, true. But yeah, anyway, just proving that point more. It was directed by Todd Haynes. It is a biography drama, and the synopsis says: ruminations on the life of Bob Dylan, where 6 characters embody a different aspect of the musician's life and personality. Cool. It took me probably about 15 minutes into the movie, maybe even a bit longer, to like understand that's what was happening, to be honest. But so that was kind of trippy.
It took me like an hour and a half to realize that they're not actually Bob Dylan.
Wait, what?
Because like I do that, like they were giving him different names, but I still thought they were all meant to be like a cohesive Bob Dylan story. And it took probably not an hour and a half. It was probably less than that. It took me way too long to realize that it was different stories. And I was like, oh shit.
As in, like, you thought like it was actually, understanding, of course, they're different actors, but like that it was a cohesive timeline.
Yeah, I thought Woody grew into fucking Jack.
Right.
I thought Jack would grow into Billy, and then I was like, oh, hold on, no, Billy the Kid happens fucking way before this.
Yeah. No, I actually understand that. At first, I was trying to put together the years between because when they were talking about like because they mentioned Woody was in 1959 at some point, and then they mentioned
that's why it
Jack,
wasn't making sense to me because I was like,
because
Woody's 1959, and then
they mentioned Jack was coming up in the early 60s. So like I was all I actually had that as well a bit. Anyways, Jaden, what did you think of I'm Not There? And feel free to also, I feel like it's important if you have any history with Bob Dylan or not.
I got very little kind of relation to Bob Dylan. Like my favorite kind of project of his isn't even really a project of his. It's like a recording that was done by this group called the New Basement Tapes, which when they took like unreleased Bob Dylan songs and then they covered them and then released them like that. So like considering that my favorite Bob Dylan isn't even Bob Dylan, like I've got not much connection. I did quite like this movie. I loved the style of it all. Obviously, I think it was incredibly strong stylistically. But even just that thing that was just something now about difficulty in timeline, it permeates the film, and it does make it a hard thing to understand if you're not given it everything in your mind. In my mind, it's always on like 80%. No, but yeah, once I don't know. I quite liked all the individual stories. I think the Jude Quinn storyline is probably a standout, but I also did quite like the Woody Guthrie. Yeah, I don't know. I think it was. I wasn't expecting it to be this abstract. I was expecting a Bob Dylan story. But from what I've seen people say about like the facets of the man, like this was one of the better ways to tell it, which is interesting.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be interesting to compare it to the Timmy film that's going to come out soon. But yeah,
the what film?
Timmy Chalamet is playing.
He's going to play Bob.
He's playing Bob.
Interesting. I sort of after seeing this, I sort of would feel like I wouldn't want to do that.
No,
like when you've gone so far in doing something like this that's so out there. And as the stand synopsis put it, unconventional. It's like I'd be scared then to do something a bit more traditional after that. You'd almost think it'd be the other way around. I mean, I don't know if there was another more traditional Bob Dylan biopic before this, but anyway, I'd be intimidated if I were Timmy. But anyway, this I agree with most of what you said. This movie's a weird one for me. It's obviously out there in its intention and its approach. I just never seen or heard of anything like it, which is cool. I'm definitely leaning towards liking it more than not. I was mostly engaged. I quite liked some of the storylines and performances were stronger than others. For me, I feel like I don't know. I know nothing about Bob Dylan. Knew nothing. Sort of feel like I sort of still don't, but sort of do through osmosis in this weird way now. Because like I still don't really know what he like. I haven't looked up a picture of him yet. It's like I still don't really know what the actual real dude looks like. I presume like there's which of them looks the most like Bob Dylan in this movie?
Actually,
I was thinking
Cate Blanchett.
I was thinking, is it going to be Cate Blanchett?
Yeah, well,
Cate Blanchett with a bit of Ben Whishaw, I'd say.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was in the movie at the very end. Like that was him at that last scene.
Bob was.
Yeah. Archival footage. No,
Oh,
just him playing the
sorry.
tempo.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that makes sense. So, anyway, I just wonder how that would affect knowing stuff about his music and his life, how that would affect the experience. I feel like knowing nothing held me back in a weird way. Like, I feel like if the movie, I know it literally says at the start, based on the music and many lives of Bob Dylan, which is, I think, is actually quite a nice way to put it. But if there wasn't that, like, I would think I was just watching this really like abstract PTA sort of movie. You know what I mean? Where it's like all these different stories and like, that kind of a thing, or the character studies kind of thing. So in this weird way, like, because I can't connect it to Bob Dylan and like go, oh, I understand, that relates to this song, or that's like, I don't know, I know this about Bob, and that's interesting how they've chosen to interpret this moment in his life through this story or this character or whatever. Just because I had none of that, like, it's just hard to ground me in that aspect of it. But then I don't know. At the same time, maybe Bob Dylan fans like thought this was weird, and they would have just rather like the Timmy version. You know what I mean? So I guess you could go the other way too. I don't know. Anyway, but I appreciate this movie had balls for sure, and Todd had a vision, and everyone did it. I agree with Jane on the style 100%. Like, everyone did a fantastic job bringing it to life. So it was just a very interesting watch for lots of different reasons. But yes, Fitzy, poll winner. Congratulations to you. And what do you think?
Thank you. Well, this film's been on my stand watch list for like a pretty long time now. Like, my stand watch list is pretty small, and it just has a bunch of films that have just like kind of gone, moldy and just stayed there for like quite a long time, and this is one of them. But my interest in this kind of picked up with Andy just talking about the Todd Haynes aspect to it, but I still wasn't like interested enough to follow through with it. And I've never really been interested in Bob Dylan that much until this year, basically. I think it was like a Hamlet, the Hamlet Andrew Scott production has like Bob Dylan songs over it, and like I vibed to a couple of those, and now like I don't want to be like the resident expert here because I really don't know much more than this movie tells us about Bob Dylan, but I did get some satisfaction through recognition, and I was like waiting for like a few of his songs to pop up and that kind of thing. So I did experience a bit of that, but not much. But yeah, anyway, I don't know. I enjoyed parts of it for sure. I think it was ultimately way more disjointed and abstract than I thought it was. But some of the portrayals are really, really amazing. I mean, I think Andy in his review called them like, this is paraphrasing, but like they're like spiritual portrayals, kind of like portrayals of his different, like personas and feelings over time, I guess. And that like Jane, that only clicked for me like way too long into the movie. If that clicked earlier, I would have enjoyed it a lot more. But I think because I'm slow at it, it was not as good as an experience as it could have been. But
no, I think we're all pretty similar in that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed parts of it. I guess I enjoyed, and my enjoyment was pretty dependent on the portrayal that they were showing. I enjoyed some more than others.
Yeah, for sure. So how many other Todd Haynes films have you seen? There's May December. I'm aware of that one.
Yeah.
Okay. This is my first Todd Haynes.
I don't know.
Okay. Like, how much does this stand out as, like, does this feel like a Todd Haynes film? Because being this the only one I've ever seen. Oh, okay. Being this the only one I've ever seen, it was like, well, this was very unique, obviously. So it's like, I wonder if that's sort of an exception to his rule, or if there are aspects to it that feel similar to other films he's done.
Well, like Safe and May December feel very unique in their vision, but they're not abstract in the same way. Kind of, they are very bold. Like I think May December was like an extremely bold film. So in that sense, the Todd Haynes that's the Todd Haynes aspect, I guess.
Okay. Cool. Todd Haynes got balls. He's got a vision. Yeah. I respect that. Yeah, I definitely got that from this. In terms of in terms of like what you were talking about in terms of like picking up little parts of Bob's life, I'm curious about those. Like, what if there were specific scenes, specific characters that you're talking about, like one or two that were like, oh, from the little I understand about Bob, like that makes sense or that resonates, of like something I know about him, kind of thing.
Well, Well, it wasn't something that resonated. There was a literal scene that I watched it on Thursday actually on YouTube. It's like Bob Dylan had like a hangover and he was with John Lennon in the car, and that's when John Lennon says like, "Do you suffer from sore eyes, a swollen headache, or a swollen forehead, or something, and curly hair?" You know that scene in the car where he's with like the BBC reporter and that other random British dude. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that was a scene taken from real life, and so then that made me realize. So like, even though these are these like spiritual betrayals, there are like specific details and scenes in here which pulled directly from his life, and that kind of
Right.
grounded me a bit. But like other than that, I was just waiting for certain songs. Like my favorite Bob Dylan song is "One More Cup of Coffee," which plays about halfway through the film. When it's transitioning between like Heath Ledger and Richard Gere. I don't think there was much else than that. I mean, I mentioned like Inside Llewyn Davis is about the whole like Greenwich Village scene, and they mentioned Greenwich like once, but I kind of thought it would go like more in depth into that New York kind of scene, but it didn't really. It was just kind of like a passing mention reference.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you know any of the music going in, Jaden?
No, not by name. I think like I listened to like a handful of songs, like
Like you recognize someone they popped up, or
no. Like I mean, like I've listened to like a couple of songs, just like say I've dipped my toes in, but like I don't know the songs at all.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only knew that. What was that? I can't even remember do it anymore. That one song that Fitzy did last week on the show. They're like, oh yeah, I know that one.
Oh, the times are changing.
Yeah. That's literally the only song I'd ever heard in my life. I'm pretty
But
sure.
it was quite a diverse soundtrack considering that it was Bob Dylan. Like there was so many songs that weren't Bob Dylan, which was an interesting choice. I thought, songs by the Monkees and like, I might be wrong here, but tell me he didn't do All Along the Watchtower, did he? Like he doesn't have a version of that, does he?
I don't know. He probably does, to be honest.
Okay, right. Yeah, because like there was quite a few songs that.
Well, it's Jimi Hendrix though. That's like the main person.
But Hendrix did it in like '81 or some shit, didn't he?
I think it was earlier than that. Oh, it is Bob Dylan. Yeah,
that's crazy. All right, there you go. I guess I did know that one. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it's all very interesting. I feel like this all impacts what you take away from the film and stuff. So when I'm trying to, in terms of, I want to try and analyze how effective it was at portraying his life based on like, I'm not going to literally look at a Wikipedia page right now. I probably should have already, to be honest. But I'm interested in like how effectively it communicated these different aspects of his life through these different characters. So like, I don't know, who do I pick on? Like, I guess I assume he was married and got divorced at some stage with kids, right? Okay, that's a safe bet there.
I read through the Wikipedia, but like only like the brief section, not the long section.
Okay, right. So like, in terms of his career, I'm interested in how Jack and Jude sort of connect and overlap in terms of like who he was. Do you know what I mean? So Jack was the part he was on the rise, and then he sort of had a bit of a, I don't know, what even happened to Jack? He kind of just went on some rambles and then kind of just fell off, I guess. But then Jude felt like a more specific, like people sort of turned against Jude.
Yeah. So like those both are kind of things that happened where, so the whole Jude character is based on his time where he started playing a more electronic rock sound, and he did start performing with a band, and he did kind of abandon his folk roots, and he did get booed at that festival, and he did go to London. He did get called Judas. He did like all that. A lot of that stuff did happen with Jude. Yeah. So like that is a very real part of his career. And the Jack Rollins. The Jack Rollins character is like an exaggeration of something that did actually happen, where I think Dylan did find God, and he did release like 3 albums, I think, where he was like a Christian, like, preaching type of thing, is what Wikipedia said.
Wow.
But he never like went like full like, kind of extremist pastor.
Oh, like he does in the film. Yeah. Okay. So, but I presume that happens after the Jude stuff, right? That's it. It sounds like it would progress that way, where like he starts.
Yeah, I think so.
He starts like doing some different music, that kind of thing. People start turning against him, and then he sort of keeps going in that direction. Then that's where the religious stuff comes in.
I think time wise, I think that's what makes sense.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah. I'm just using deductive reasoning here. Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So then the other aspect of this is, so I assume Billy the Kid is like after Jack, like he went into hiding or some shit at some point. Like he became sort of a what do you call it?
A recluse.
A recluse, exactly, an anonymous figure, whatever, that kind of thing.
Well, that's is it Pat Garrity first?
Yeah, so he played that character in a film, right? Like the real Bob Dylan played that character in a real film.
What, played Billy the Kid?
I'm pretty sure, in a 1973 film.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. That's very meta. Okay.
No, he made the album. He made an album called Pat Garrity and Billy the Kid, I think.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool though. Yeah. Okay.
The Billy the Kid aspect and the Woody Guthrie aspect, those to me don't relate as much to his life as they do to his like artistic influences and like musical kind of theme of a certain era. Like I didn't know he was so influenced by Woody Guthrie, but I think halfway through the film I was like thinking, why is this here? Why do we have this story? And I realized that this is just kind of he's a kid. Woody Guthrie is a kid in the film because it's literally like Bob Dylan's origin and the fact that he was like so influenced by this person, by this artist as like a young man, you know. And then Billy the Kid later on is more like, I don't know, like a different, like more country kind of thing that he does later, I guess. I haven't really listened to that album, but that's what I'm kind of guessing. Like those two are kind of more about the influences in the albums themselves.
So he doesn't. He never really like steps out of the spotlight like Billy does.
I think he does kind of, because I think later on you see much less of him in like the media and stuff. And I mean, he does.
He's been like constantly touring for the past like 30 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's literally called like the Never Ending Tour, and he's been like, I was reading through the fucking thing, and like he's been touring for a long time.
Wow.
Yeah, but like I think he's never liked. I mean, this film kind of shows it as well. He never liked like the media and that kind of spotlight, I guess. But I don't know.
Okay. Sorry.
I think Wikipedia said that Billy the Kid is just based on like more of an outlaw persona that he took on sometimes. I could search that up to verify, but
it may
I
as well.
thought that's what it said.
This is interesting though. How like this is making me like the film more in terms of like we're now trying to interpret why the Billy the Kid sequence is there and what it means and all this kind of stuff. But like, no matter the interpretation, it all sounds relevant. You know what I mean? Like if we picked apart that album.
Yeah, I think there's multiple aspects.
It's interesting. Yeah, exactly. It just feels very well thought out in that way, where it's like, you know, this is what makes it such an interesting biopic, is that like, it's literally just, it's meant to be based on someone's real life, but it's so up to interpretation in all these different ways, where a biopic just is normally the total opposite of that. You know what I mean? Just like, this is what happened. Then they made this album, you know, that kind of shit. So that's what I find interesting about that. So Woody Guthrie's a real person. Sorry, I heard the name. Okay, that makes sense.
Actually, I listened to some Woody Guthrie last night. It's bangers.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So was he earlier? So in the movie he was in 59. So it's earlier than that?
Yeah, so he was big when Bob Dylan was like young, like a kid, I guess. I'm not sure, but like he was an earlier folk singer.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
This just says that Billy the Kid refers to Dylan playing the role of Billy the Kid in a western, which I don't know. Yeah.
Can you play the role of Billy the Kid on an album? I don't know.
So was Bob Dylan? I didn't know. Like, was Bob Dylan actually an actor as well? Like,
yeah, he's got an Academy Award.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure.
What?
I'm pretty sure I read that in his Wikipedia.
For what, like best, but for music or acting?
I'm pretty sure it was for acting.
Wow.
Let me check. Maybe I'm wrong.
The way these storylines are sort of, I find this very interesting. So obviously Robbie was an actor.
No, it's a song.
Oh, okay, right. So Robbie was an actor. That made me think like he must have done some acting, right?
Yeah, but I don't know. Well, wait, let me just see.
Well, this is a Cinema Effect learn about Bob Dylan.
Yeah, this is a research dense episode.
I'm fine with that. That's cool.
I don't think so. Like Bob Dylan movies.
The other aspect, just to that was interesting was when so it was Robbie meant to be. Jack Rowlands turned up in the Robbie sequence, right? You know when Jack's in the background on the poster in the scene in the movie that Robbie's in?
Oh yeah, so that movie is Jack betraying Robbie. Wait,
no, the other way around.
No, the other way around. Sorry, Robbie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the movie is Robbie betraying Jack.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like, okay, like what's that about? You know what I mean? If he wasn't an actor, or did you say he was an actor, Fitzy? Did you just get that?
Actually, this is just a musical thing.
Why is it so hard to find?
Like, I think all these are like archival footage or like
okay.
They're like videos of performances and that kind of thing.
When he was on the morning show once. Okay. Yeah. Because there were, I think I remember that, and then the other occasion, if I recall, wasn't there another occasion where the stories, where the characters overlapped? Wasn't there a photo of Jack Rowlands in Jude's story as well?
Yeah.
I think
when
so.
they were talking about like the exposed past or whatever.
Yeah.
True.
So these, I mean, it's Jack both times, but yeah, I don't know. Okay, this is interesting. It's interesting. I don't know what that's about. Is it is it just meant to loosely disconnect, just try and show how they're loosely connected, or is there more to that? I don't know,
but like Jack to me, like he felt more like he was more vague, and he felt more like an icon or like an image than any of the other people. Like even when he was like the super Christian person, it's like I feel like that's exaggerated because it's how at a certain time people might have viewed like Bob Dylan's like conversion into Christianity or whatever you want to call it. So like them constantly referencing the Jack Rowlands image feels like they're referencing Bob Dylan's like his iconography, his like iconic status as like an image for folk music, I guess. Because we don't see him much, he's only he only exists in that kind of referential space and through images and stuff.
Yeah, and it's a very intentional choice, obviously, which I really liked, that his whole story plays out through a documentary
that was cool,
format. That was really cool. So that sort of distances you from him. You feel like you never really, I don't think they ever really interview him, I don't think. It's sort of a mix of like everyone else talking about him, and then like they show him like, giving speeches, and then when he starts playing when he's a preacher guy, whatever that role's called in the church. It's it feels very disconnected from him, like personally. You don't really ever feel like you get he's really speaking about himself, or you get, deep into who he really is or how he feels he is. It's all just about how other people see him. Which is sort of important to that. So yeah, no, I really like that choice for that character. Yeah, for sure. Who else? Sorry, who else are we missing? Oh, sorry, I was going to say the other part of the when you're bringing up the Billy the Kid and how it relates to Woody and like their roles in the film. An interesting choice I found was at the end of the film. You know how it seemed that Billy the Kid story linked to the start of Woody's, on the train.
Yeah, I thought it would literally transform into Woody Guthrie at the end.
Yeah. So that was, that was interesting. So it's sort of like the origin. I don't know, how does that link to the origin idea? It's almost like Because they mentioned Woody was a wanted juvenile, right?
Mm.
So it's almost like it's like the same backstory. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You can
there's
always imagine that
similarities.
you can always imagine that when the characters are talking to, like when Woody, they reveal, oh yeah, you know, he's not wanted from juvie. Like Woody's literally remembering like Billy the Kid.
I don't think.
Well,
That's it,
they do have that one scene where they're like, Ben Whishaw is talking about like the rules of being like anonymous, and he says, "Don't look at yourself," and that's a scene where that's probably the only scene where you see two, live Bob Dylan personas like in the same place and looking at each other.
yeah.
So like those two are intentionally similar in some ways, but I'm not sure there's like a logical link in the story from one to the other.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Linearly as well.
Yeah, no, the film. Yeah, no, you're right. I think we've already. Yeah. Everything else I've said has sort of been against that, so that makes sense. But yeah, there is something. There's something to the way those origins link. I think, well, especially, or at least how one leads into the other, which was interesting. But yeah, you brought up Ben Whishaw, who's
Ben Whishaw. Yeah.
What is it? Sorry, did I say it wrong?
I think it's like Ben Whishaw. I think.
There's no N in it.
Is it? Shit. I don't know.
I thought there was an N in it. Oh, yeah, no, my bad. Totally wrong. Yeah, Ben Whishaw, my bad. That was such an interesting. He was the most interesting one to me because, first of all, I thought his performance was phenomenal. Like, I actually thought he might have been the best actor in the movie, but he's also used the least. And how he was used sort of as this almost like narrator sort of. I know there's another narrator, but then like he's almost this sort of narrating the transition between the characters at times.
He's playing a real person as well.
Okay.
Ward was a real person.
A musician?
No,
I don't think so.
A poet,
philosopher, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's interesting. So maybe does he represent maybe like Bob's more like introspective side? Because that is sort of what he's doing the whole movie. He's sort of trying to frame the movie in this very philosophical way, but more broadly. Kind of.
What was Rimbaud? Was he a poet?
Yeah, poet known for transgressive and surreal themes.
That makes sense with what I saw. That's interesting. So, like, yeah, I don't know. Does Bob have a side of that to him? I guess maybe he's a fan.
Yeah, for sure. I think so.
Yeah.
Well, he mentions Rimbaud. The Heath Ledger. Robbie mentions Rimbaud as well when he's talking about the differences between men and women. Well, I'll just say that I think Ben Whishaw was impressive, but Cate Blanchett, like Jude Quinn, was the highlight for me. I think the kind of unhinged Bob Dylan was pretty fun, and she was like she was just very good.
Yeah,
I don't know, her like kind of constant antagonism and just her her look as well is just like amazing, and her expressions. I think she was my favorite. Like every scene with her was pretty entertaining in the least, and there were some like surreal aspects to that story, and like when they kind of when they met the beat when they were with the Beatles, or like they had that whole like fair thing going on. I don't know what it was, but that long take of them like walking down some like riverside thing, and then that nerd is like pestering Jude Quinn, like that all that thing was like pretty great.
Well, I think wasn't the whole Jude Quinn sequence isn't that's like meant to be inspired by like the surrealism of like 8.5.
Don't step on me, Jaden. Different sections of the film are inspired by different cinematic sources. The Jude section was inspired by Fellini's 8.5. The Billy section was inspired by the so-called hippie westerns of the late 60s and early 70s. And the Robbie section was inspired by the films of Jean-Luc Godard, especially, Masculine Feminine. Did I get that right? Oh, shit. Yeah. Cool. Yes, does that all make sense to you guys? Does that all compute?
Yeah. Well, I kind of felt like I'd seen that style before in the Jude Quinn section, but I couldn't like put my finger on it. But, no, thanks. Thanks.
The black and white
Matthew.
was another thing that stood out.
Oh, because all black and white films are linked to 8.5 seconds.
8.5, yeah.
Well, I'm just saying it's another. If you're trying to be 8.5, you may as well be black and white, I guess. Jen, you mentioned that was sort of, I was good because I was going to ask like which characters we preferred over others, and you mentioned that was one of your favorites too.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's probably like my favorite, like kind of like musical scene that he exists in. You know, I've never had much of a,
I go here.
Yeah, I've never had much of a connection to like folk or you know, country or Christian music. So like as being like the main like like kind of thing I could vibe with and connect to. I think that's kind of emerged early on as like my kind of favorite story that we're returning to, and I also just like the kind of wankerish extent that Dylan's persona has reached at that point, and how that like kind of what that means. And I think like because you can so clearly tell like that he is like a kind of complex and profound thinker, but then like he gets dismantled by a BBC journalist and like kind of shattered, and like you're like, so is he a fraud? And like I don't know, I like the commentary on his personality there quite a lot.
Yeah, okay. Cate Blanchett wore a sock down her trousers to play Bob Dylan. She said, "It helps me walk like a man."
Yeah, that made me think a lot. I was like, it's like, obviously we sit different, right? But like, do we walk different? Like, is that really like a thing? And like, what's the male equivalent of like testing it out? Like, tape it back and then like see if we can walk like a woman. Like,
tape it back, yeah.
Is that
tuck it in?
But then like, I feel like that's not
going
to help, because then you're like trying to keep it tucked and you're like, oh.
Yeah, that's not really going to work. Yeah. No, I feel like just like having this sort of additive thing, sort of sticking out, just changes the
Stick it out.
Sticking out, yes. Sort of just changes your whole demeanor. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like your confidence level, perhaps. Yeah. Okay. I thought so. This is so funny, like, because Jude's sequence was by far my least favorite in the movie.
Well, you had 8.5, so.
Yeah, I was literally gonna say, like, when I read it was based on 8.5, I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Because it did actually, like, I didn't consciously think of it at all, but like when I read that, I was like, oh, it did feel like 8.5. So like, shout out, good job. But I wasn't a fan of it. But Cate was like unbelievable though in the film, no doubt. Like, I literally every time they like kept calling her him, because like she's playing a male, I was just like, I just kept getting tripped out by it. But it was like she was really good, because like she's she's like one of the best actors on the planet. So like, no doubt about the quality of the performance. But
yeah, but like I didn't get tripped out by it though. Like it was just like that believable. I was like,
okay, right,
totally
right,
into it.
Yeah. And then the first time, I think I kind of tripped out, and then like, I think one time you also like I like in the car, I noticed her nails are kind of long for like what, but then I was like, oh, maybe he just has curvy nails on every fucking hand.
Right.
But yeah, no, like I was fully into it as well, apart from those two moments.
Yeah, I mean, I think I just didn't vibe with it. I think for all the reasons that like just for all the reasons like you guys and anyone else would like it. Like just for I don't know, it just felt very sort of, the character at that point just felt very amoral. Like I was thinking, like, is this the definition of sloth we were talking about last week? Where she's like, it's like, oh, I'm saying she, where like he's all tired all the time and like just sort of like doesn't give a shit about anything. And I was like on the BBC reporter side, 100%. I'm like, dude, I feel like this person needs to be totally exposed for like not doing a great job here. But so yeah, that's sort of just how I felt about that one. But the whole ending of the Jude sequence was really interesting, with like again, sort of emphasizing the whole, I don't know, like, what's the best way to put this? Like Jesus, I'm sorry. His whole thing is about how everything is meaningless, right? And just keeps talking about this over and over again. And it's like, for me, it became a bit grating. But at the end, when they sort of have that final line, and then he stares into the camera, Cate stares into the camera. It's like that was a strong cinematic moment for sure. But I didn't really necessarily feel like there was an arc there. You know what I mean? But it felt like a standout moment in the movie, so I was just curious if how you guys felt about it.
I didn't take Jude's persona as he was a little bit nihilistic, but like I thought it was more like Jude was more about separating himself from any of the other personas, or like the icon of Bob Dylan, separating himself from Jack Rowlands and kind of not being anyone that not being someone that people want him to be, not being defined by any specific genre of music or type of singer, like not a protest singer or a folk singer, you know. I think he was constantly kind of pushing back against that idea that he was selling out to somebody. But in that, it was a bit in that like identityless space. It was a bit nihilistic, I guess, and a bit grating. But I feel like there was a point there, like talking about like that last scene where she looks into the camera and breaks the fourth wall. Kind of, she's talking about the. I went from he to she. Sorry, I don't know what to call it, but
yeah,
like the sanctity of mystery and that in music and that kind of thing, and like the mystique of the musician. I think that's what that persona is about, I guess.
I think also like Jude's the only one that we see like get a resolute ending in that he dies. So like maybe like it signifies that like it's like the like, you know, like I think it shows like there's an actual like period of time where
did you die? What?
In a motorcycle accident, like the motorcycle crashing.
All right, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah, well, they show earlier in the film. They show that
I remember there being
that Jude's like Jude's dead on like a table or something.
Oh shit, that was early, right?
Yeah, it was like.
I was kind of just. I think I was just like, just taking that all in as like abstract imagery. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't. Oh, okay, right.
But like, I think the fact that like Jude's the only one that dies, I think might represent that like that's the only part of Dylan's character that he didn't have that doesn't exist now. You know, like he still probably embodies a degree of the outlaw or the kid or the, you know, the pastor even, but like that nihilism that he embodied in the 60s is gone. You know,
that's interesting. Yeah, I like that a lot. Huh. Well, I just totally spaced out on that part. That's cool. Yeah, that makes sense because it is all about, I guess, not being, I don't know, all these different expectations that are put on him by media and the public, and not wanting to you know, fit into boxes, I suppose. Yeah.
I think the biggest thing for me was like when the reporter asked, do you still care about protesting and protest music and that kind of thing? It's like, I think the reason he was angry wasn't because he doesn't care or anything like that. It's that he doesn't want to be just labeled a protest singer, and like and to be asked that is part of that labeling process, you know, by the head of the BBC, like the editor or whatever. So you could take it as nihilistic, but I think there's like that other aspect to it.
Yeah. I guess maybe because that all makes sense to me. Of like, like, you know, wanting to break out of that and not just be seen as one thing, or be seen, like the labels thing. I like that a lot, but it's just like, I don't know, like the way then like he would ramble in his answers and just go on, like it felt just the way he would answer felt nihilistic more so than I guess the point even.
True.
So yeah, okay. I think we covered them all. I think, but in terms of like just touching on them a little bit, but my personal favorite was Heath Ledger as Robbie. I just thought that whole sequence, like, I don't know, maybe it was just because it felt the most
tangible.
Yeah, it felt the most personal, and like the film, like even sort of has it. I feel like it's just such a different like sort of look and feel compared to obviously the Jude sequence as well.
It felt surreal in itself. Like when they show like the domestic life, I was like, this film doesn't belong in this film. You know, it's weird.
Right, exactly. It feels very different like that. Yeah, that's true. But I liked seeing that side of it for sure. I liked the relationship with, I don't know, the actress who plays his wife in that sequence, but I liked her a lot.
Charlotte Gainsbourg.
There you go. Shout out to her. I liked her a lot. Heath was just fantastic in this movie, man. I just, I don't know. I just found him very entertaining. Dude, that whole scene that you already mentioned earlier, Fitzy, where he's ranting about how men and women are different, and like the photographer, like that whole scene was just so entertaining. It was definitely my most like entertaining scene in the movie for sure. I just thought Heath was really funny in it, and the whole thing was just great. It was just really, really great. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, you know what I mean? I feel like more exploration needs to be done into why women can't be poets, you know?
Oh, why don't you throw your hat into the discussion?
No.
It was a very interesting argument, you know?
And it's a dumb argument, you know. Sylvia Plath, Emily Dickinson, fucking.
Yeah,
but it's different, as he says.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
As Rimbaud and Shakespeare. Yeah.
I liked, I do, I don't know enough about poets to really like strongly agree or disagree, really, but like I appreciated it. Like at least it seemed somewhat thought out.
I disagree with the point about they can't be poets, but like you can't disagree with the fact that men and women are just like inherently different, and I think I think if you can look around, you can see the differences that emerge, and I think I think him trying to prove his point in that write down the most. write down the worst thing you can think of, and I'm like, if I was given that challenge, I think I genuinely would write down the most like disgusting thing I could think of. I'm like, but she walks away, and I'm like, would any I was like, I think that typifies the argument, that the men would go the extra mile kind of thing is what he was trying to say.
Just the fact that he was willing to do it. In the first
I disagreed to the end that he thinks in that like you can't be a poet because you won't go the extra mile. But I think there's a case there for the fact that the whole women and men are different thing. Like there's 100% a case there.
Yeah, I'm not familiar enough because I don't know. Is there science that backs this up? I don't want to get too off the rails, but like, is there? I don't know. I've inherently sort of been against the idea. It just never really made sense to me. But I don't know. Every now and again, I feel like I don't know how it comes up. Like in conversation, someone's like, "Oh yeah, women's brains work like this," and I'm like, sometimes I can't tell if it's just like a really what am I trying to say? I can't tell if a comment like that
like
is like actually based. If it's disingenuous or just reductive and just sort of rude and not well thought out, or if it's like if there's actual science I just haven't read and because I don't know anything about science. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I genuinely don't know.
I think that the way that like regardless of science, I think like regardless of biological science, I think social science tells you that there is a difference in the way that I mean like there's difference area, but like the one I'll give you in like social science in the first is that you look at a dark car park, we go to cinemas, right, where you park your car fucking down the back, and we tend to walk together to your car at the end of the night, but if we weren't there, you'd have no issue walking to your car without a care, Whereas, whereas the woman doesn't have that luxury. You need to be unsupervised with the keys in your hand, constantly looking around.
Yeah,
like that one social thing, I think, like is a start of the many differences between, the genders.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I 100% see that, but it's like, what are there actual? So in that sense, there are definitely differences, but like, what differences are formed by society, by external things versus biology?
Biologically, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, I just don't. Yeah, I don't know either. But that's what I'm curious about. Where it's like, are there actually genuinely inherent biological things that are different? You know what I mean? Or is like women's brains work differently? Is that just like a scapegoat?
I think it's a scapegoat. Well, it depends on the context that they're using it in.
Oh, 100%. It definitely is often a scapegoat. But I mean, like, is it always a scapegoat? I don't know. Anyway, I genuinely am interested in this topic, by the way. Hopefully people weren't offended by it for some reason. Did we cover it? Were you guys happy with how we covered Heath Ledger, or any further you enjoyed him in the movie. Every time I see him in a movie like this at this age, obviously not long before he passed, it's just like I just think, especially in a movie like this where it's not this huge blockbuster thing, it's like think of how many like killer performances we could have gotten since and could still be getting today. You know what I mean? Like it's just such a shame to me. But another standout for me was Richard Gere, who I just really enjoy on screen. So his whole sequence felt the most dreamlike to me. Probably, but it feels weird to. Yeah, no, probably, yeah. Because when his whole thing when you're in the town and you got all the townsfolk around in the Western place, that's pretty wild at times. Especially mainly probably when the giraffe turned up, that was one thing, but probably also just by the fact of all the recasted roles was interesting as well. And like the fact, so I thought at first it was going to be like kind of subtle-ish, I guess, not fully subtle, but like obviously it's the same actor from earlier in the movie and other storylines playing these characters in this setting, but like the movie literally with the BBC reporter guy like literally flashed to him, so it's like it wasn't trying to hide anything there remotely, So that was like, I don't know, that was when the film was just that choice alone of having those recasted actors was the most trippy. So I don't know if you guys had any insight into that. I thought that was interesting. But overall, I don't know. I just like Richard Gere a lot, I guess.
Yeah, he was enjoyable. Like, I want to get back to Robbie for a second though, just so we don't skip it.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what I took from Robbie. I guess I just took that he wasn't cut out for this kind of domestic lifestyle, and it was more from the wife's perspective because of that, like showing her like dissatisfaction, which was really like another cool different choice the film made. But I don't know, and I guess there was some like malaise or something like after his success. I think that like that dinner table scene, it does like kind of show a bit of his growing boredom or something. So I don't know, that's kind of what I took from Robbie. But
did just with connection between the stories, is that woman that we see in his apartment in London, is that then the one that we see in the Jude story? That they refer to as like his like past girlfriend or whatever?
Well, Jude is set in London, and I think that was set in Paris.
Oh, was it?
Because France, because they had like the French telephone operator. So maybe not. But.
I mean, but France and London, Paris and London are starting to throw away.
Yeah, I don't know.
I didn't pick up on that, but possibly.
That would be very cool, though.
Yeah, I like the idea. I mean, you picked up on. I didn't even pick up on Jude dying, so don't take my word.
But like, what did you guys get from Robbie? Like, is that the same kind of thing that you guys got?
That is a raging woman hater.
Yeah, I suppose so. But also, just in more of a general sort of way, just like seeing him, how he dealt with domestic life. I guess it was, I don't know, I feel like it was probably the most clear-cut version of it to me in terms of just like seeing that, but basically just seeing how he had a wife and kids and, how his relationship with them and how it deteriorated and, but then like how it never felt like it got really, really bad. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that final, I think, was it the final shot of Robbie when they were driving off and she was waving? Was that the final shot with him? I think so.
Yeah, probably.
It felt like it was.
Yeah.
That just to me like sort of summed it up. It was just like that other, just sort of seeing him behind the curtain, I guess.
I think
personas removed. Yeah.
I think a lot of the Robbie storyline was lost on me given its early placing in the film. Well, it's consistent throughout the film, but like a lot of the early stuff was lost on me because I was at that point I was still trying to figure out how it fits into the other storylines. So I think I lost a lot of like the actual like nuance of his relationship with Gainsbourg because I was trying to think. I was like, hold on, where's he here? What's this? Is she at the same time as this and stuff like that? So it's probably like the story I took the least from. which is unfortunate because I think it is actually quite an interesting one. But yeah.
No, that's fair enough.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's a lot more to it than that, to be honest.
Yeah, I just felt like it was a very negative portrayal. Like I think it was as negative as the Drew Quinn kind of pomposity, because like just his negligence there, and his kind of apathy toward like domestic life was revealing, I guess.
Yeah, okay. I didn't see it quite as negatively. I mean, I can't disagree with it. I still felt, I don't know, I still felt the love for his kids. That was another main takeaway. So it wasn't all bad for me.
Did he love his kids though? You know,
I still got that from it. Personally.
Yeah, I thought he did too.
Why? Because he yelled in that one scene, "Don't take away my kids."
No, he rang. Yeah.
When he found the photos and he was like smiling at the photos.
Yeah, there was a few.
He was asking
okay,
about them. You know, he was
that.
asking about the kids, and she refused to tell him. You know.
I feel like after they broke up, like all of his efforts were involved with either seeing them or making time to see them.
He took him on the boat day. You know.
Yeah.
Boat day. What was that?
That was when he was driving away. Like
boat day.
That was for boat day.
That was boat day.
Yeah, I know.
He was taking the kids out on the boat, I think.
Sure, all right. That's good. Sorry, anyway. Sorry, I don't know if you guys had anything to say about what I was rambling on about with the Billy the Kid shit. But I was just thinking, like, in terms of the connection. Sorry. I was thinking in terms of, like, was there something to the idea of, like, the reporter guy? Because you know how they flash, like I mentioned, they flash back to BBC reporter guy plays wheelchair man.
Carrot, yeah. I think it's Pike Carrot.
Oh, is it? Vastly different accents and stuff, which was cool. But anyway, they both felt like they were serving similar purposes in both stories, where like they're both trying to expose like the real, who you really are, kind of thing. Where like, you know, that character, like the wheelchair character, thinks he's like, you know, no, he recognizes Billy and is trying to expose him, and BBC reporter kind of feels like it's doing the same thing. So I feel like maybe that was just sort of a little moment of those crossover moments we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I liked how like it was kind of surreal and with the kind of face paintings and like circusy vibe, but it was like a chill storyline as well.
Yeah,
I also like the kind of, I don't know, like the kind of flashes he has of like the civil rights movements and that kind of thing, because like I think Bob Dylan's most famous for like becoming like some of his songs becoming like the kind of themes of like civil rights movements in the 60s, and the kind of like protests against Vietnam and that kind of thing. It felt like he was remembering a past life, even though he was this comes linearly beforehand. It's like 19th century or whatever. But yeah, I liked how that was also just reference and not like like pushed that hard, that he was like this figure in the movements, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. The other main aspect I really liked, I don't know how you guys felt about this, but like just a takeaway I had was like, you know, his final scene where he's on the train and like Henry the dog turns back up and he's like running to catch up, but then he slows down and says goodbye. That was like oddly emotional for me. I was like, wow, that really hit me. I don't know why, but like it felt like a goodbye to the character. Like, even though we overall probably spent like 20 minutes with him, to be honest, like half an hour. It was like, oh, that was like oddly hit me. I don't know. Where he's like, sees the dog again, and it's like, oh shit, the dog's back, and then like, he has to like, it's almost like this quick moment of acceptance that he has to say goodbye to the dog, and I don't know, it was nice. Again, it probably has some crazy parallel to Bob's life or something, but I was like, wow, that was a cool scene. I liked it.
Well, it doesn't he say one of the characters says they're from, oh shit, what was the town? Riddle, and the town in Billy the Kid is Riddle, right? So it's like it is in a sense like he is saying goodbye to his hometown, like literally in that sequence. I don't know if Bob Dylan's from Riddle, but I think the name Riddle is a stand-in for whatever, you know, country bumpkin, towny.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, maybe that's sort of maybe that links back to what we was talking earlier about how Woody, like, then he gets his start in music. You know what I mean? I don't know, but I like that's cool. That makes sense to me for sure. You mentioning Vietnam earlier just brought a scene to mind that I didn't really understand. You know when Robbie's wife is watching Nixon announce the end of the Vietnam War on the news, and like that was a significant moment for that character because I didn't really get why. Like she seemed to understand that was going to change something in their relationship, but I think I didn't really get that.
Well, I think because he was a protest singer, so much about it and so much about his music was like, well, not that it was intended this way, but it became the themes of the civil rights like movement and like the protests against Vietnam. So like once it was over, it was kind of like it was a question of whether or not he still had a grander purpose in like as an artist, I guess. And so maybe she thought at that point he would settle down and like stop this whole this charade where he's off at Paris with some other woman and that kind of thing, because he doesn't have the pretense anymore that he's doing this all for for protest, for a good cause.
But was Robbie doing that?
Well, Robbie was just
Robbie? Yeah,
Robbie was just fucking around. I felt like at that point.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
So he doesn't have. So I think the idea is that his career is continuing, because he's part of this protest movement, and that's the reason why he can go off and like travel the world and that kind of thing and stay away from his wife. It's like an excuse kind of, and the fact that the war is over means that he doesn't have that excuse anymore. He has to come home and be a person again.
But I think you're right thematically, but I'm just like, because Robbie's just an actor fucking around, right? So like,
yeah,
I don't know why it would change anything for him. Let's get to our final verdict for I'm Not There, Jaden.
I think I would put a 8 on this film. I think I don't know. I think it's exceptionally like kind of effective at conveying its moods and in each segment, and like I think the obscurity in the story is really part of the charm in the end.
Yeah, I'll give it a strong 7. Yeah, I agree with that. I think it particularly became part of the charm for me after this discussion. Like it raised a lot of questions watching it for me that were only fulfilled by like talking about it with someone else. You know what I mean? Like if I had just watched this movie by myself and had all these thoughts pop up, but then never thought about it again, like it would have been an unfulfilled sort of experience. You know what I mean? So, by the nature of what it is, it's very interesting. Yeah, Fitzy.
I did start off kind of negative, and part of my viewing experience was tempered a bit by not fully understanding it at the time. But this discussion has helped a lot. But I'll give it an 8. Actually, I will give it an 8, just because I think, like when I rewatch it, it will probably be an 8 if I do rewatch it. So yeah, I don't know. I agree with everything you guys said, everything Jane said.
I think from what I've seen, I think it does feel like a rewatchable movie, which is a compliment that I can't give to many films.
Well, so what flavor of Bob Dylan do you want? Maybe this year you're feeling Woody Guthrie. Maybe next year you're feeling Billy the Kid.
Yeah. That's so interesting because I could see myself rewatching this movie at some point now. But if you'd asked me if I'd paused the movie halfway through, I would have said, "Oh no, I'm not going to watch this." Not because I wasn't liking it, but just because I was still trying to figure out sort of what it was, and it was so unique and weird. Yeah, it's just funny. Yeah.
Actually, I thought you'd hate this film. I'm not gonna lie. Like during the 8.5 like sequence, I was like, because my mom wasn't enjoying it, and I was like, "Oh, Zach is gonna despise this film."
Well, that was my least favorite part. So you were right in that respect. Yeah. Oh, man. Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? Let me tell you, if we can do it, anyone can. And that's thanks to Zencaster. Like a lot of other podcasts out there, our show is recorded over the web every week. But trying to record a podcast with platforms like Zoom and Discord can be an audio quality disaster. I'm sure you've heard some of the podcasts I'm talking about with long delays, sound cutting in and out. It is not pleasant. Zencaster captures studio quality sound for all of your guests right from your web browser. Zencaster's multi-layered backups ensure you always have your recordings in the highest quality, even if the connection is unstable. And with Zencaster's all-in-one platform, you can create and distribute your podcast to Spotify, Apple, and other major destinations all in one place. Go to Zencaster.com/pricing and use our code CinemaEffect to get 30% off your first month of any paid plan. That's Zencaster.com/pricing with promo code CinemaEffect with an E for 30% off today. Feel a sense of Zen with Zencaster. Let's get into news chat. We got a couple trailers. First of all, so only Liam watched The Boys? Okay. Fitzy, tell us all about The Boys Season 4.
This trailer was pretty great because it confirmed what I kind of wanted from the last trailer, which was like not having a season, not having like the season villain be the main kind of thing that the plot is revolved around, and like kind of having a larger story, because that's what I felt like is needed at this point, just because you have a lot of kind of I don't know, stagnation, and like Homelander's gone through so many like different levels of like becoming more evil. It's like at this point you just kind of have to deal with him and have him be the main antagonist, and forget about these like season villains like Homelander and the Nazi chick and that kind of thing. So it was pretty great because you kind of had these new characters. That guy from The Walking Dead that like shows up, and he's like, you know, the boys is going to be a much larger movement now. It's not just going to be one little group. So yeah, it's an exciting trailer. It's an exciting prospect. Kind of this wider war between two different sides. So yeah.
So wait. So Homelander. So are you saying they're doubling down on Homelander?
Yeah, for
what
sure.
It seems like?
I think so.
Awesome. Thank God. Yes, please. Okay. And who's the Walking Dead guy?
He's like the villain. I don't know
Negan, right?
Yeah, Negan. Yeah.
Oh, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Is that his name?
Yeah, that guy.
Oh, he's great. Okay, cool. I'm into that. Excellent. It's not long. That's like a month away, I think, that show. So
yeah, June. Yeah,
June's gonna be busy for TV. There's some good stuff coming out for sure. Well, Jaden doesn't like House of the Dragon, unfortunately, but you know, we're gonna make him watch it. Yeah, June, we're gonna force him to watch it on the show. Okay, but Jaden, you did watch this trailer for Twisters.
Yeah, I did.
Looks got Glenn Powell in it, right?
Yeah, Glenn Powell, Daisy Edgar Jones, Kiernan Shipka, apparently, even though she didn't appear in the trailer.
She must die early.
Yeah, but it was weird because like IGN like they list like the top 3 or 4 like build, and Kiernan Shipka's name was in that list, but then she didn't appear in the trailer at all. So I was like, oh, what's going on here? No, I don't know. It looks like a fun trailer. It looks like a fun time. I'm not the biggest Twister fan. It's kind of it's a dated premise. Like it's a super dated 90s premise of like storm chasing, and like every time it's trying to kind of like not even that storm chasing is like itself is like actually it is. No, storm chasing is very dated. But then like I was trying to think back into like Into the Storm, I think is the name of that. Was it 2014 film Into the Storm? You guys remember that? No. I think it was called that. But yeah, like I kind of got like that being like my other main like modern storm chasing experience. I was like, I felt a lot of kind of similarities, and like when you're storm chasing, there's only so much you can do with the story. So like I feel like it's going to be trodden territory, but like it's the trailer seems fun enough, and hopefully the movie's able to deliver enough campy fun to kind of push it through.
Okay, that's interesting. I just like that you have storm chasing experiences. You know what I mean? Not literal ones. But
yeah,
like,
I
don't think you chase stuff. But I just love how you're like, oh yeah, that's my most modern storm chasing experience. It's like I just didn't realize it was a genre in the first place. But sure, cool. Okay, that's it. Let's get to our highlights of the week. Liam, you happy to do it, or happy to kick us off?
Sure. I watched American Movie, which is a movie I've been wanting to watch for a while. It's about it's a documentary film that follows this Midwestern guy and a bunch of his friends. He's just like an aspiring filmmaker, I guess. The whole film is about him trying to make this like half an hour short, basically. And it's just very like it's partly depressing because this guy's not in like the best situation. He doesn't have a lot of resource, and he's kind of has like a bunch of problems outside of his filmmaking. But like it's a very idiosyncratic film, and it's very strange. These characters are a bit like they're very very Midwestern. They're so Midwestern that they feel kind of like eccentric kind of. And it's inspiring, I guess, if you want to look at it like that. But it's also just like kind of like he puts so much of his life into like making this short that you could also say it as depressing. It's like, but it's a very interesting film. About the American dream and all that. So I'd recommend it. And it's very funny as well. Like he has this one friend who's like with him as a cast member for like a lot of his films, or like as a crew. As someone who just helps out a lot. And he's like this kind of, because this Mark Ball cat or whatever his name, Mark is like a very talkative guy. He's like he basically just never stops yapping, and his friend is like super quiet, like a stoner. He's got like the stoner hair and the beard and everything. And he just kind of nods along and is just kind of there. And it's a hilarious like dynamic and dichotomy. There's a scene with him where he has to do like voice. He has to do like a ADR, and he does this like evil, like maniacal, like it's like a scream. It just comes out of nowhere, and it was like it's a hilarious moment. But, like the film is full of like those kind of moments where it's just like people being surprising, and I don't know. Yeah, check it out. It's very interesting.
So is this a mockumentary about the making of a movie?
No, it's not a mockumentary, but it's funny you say that because like I was looking at Letterboxd reviews, and this one critic I read the reviews of sometimes said it does feel a lot like a mockumentary.
But it's actually a doc.
Yeah, it's actually a documentary, but the characters feel unreal at times, enough for it to be a mockumentary. Like he gets all his funding from his uncle Bill, who's like this ex-scholar guy, and he's kind of Bill is hilarious, dude. I watched the film just for Bill.
Dude, that whole thing you just said just sounded fake. Like he gets his funding from this uncle guy.
He lives. He's an ex-scholar who lives in a caravan.
Right, see that, dude. That shit sounds like it's out of theatre camp or something. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, totally. But it's all real, all of it. It's true, all of it.
That's hilarious.
So yeah, it's a pretty great film, pretty great documentary.
Cool, that's awesome. Jaden, what are you gonna use, sir? What are you thinking?
Oh, why are you asking me what I'm thinking? Like
because I don't know what I want to use. So what are you gonna use?
What are you gonna use?
I don't know.
What makes you think that we're having overlap?
The Sith thing.
Well, then it makes me think.
I didn't watch that.
Think we're not.
Yeah.
You haven't watched Tales of the Empire yet?
No.
Oh shit! Can I talk about it then? Oh no.
No. I can take my headphones off for a bit if you want.
Oh no. Well, I won't talk. Oh shit! I was relying on you here, dude.
Yeah, I'm sorry, mate.
Oh man. That's tricky. Well, I did watch it. I guess I can quickly sort of non-spoiler try. I watched that obviously, and it's awesome. Feed me more. I love it. I think I still like Tales of the Jedi a bit more because I think that I just prefer those characters feel a bit more significant overall, and thus their stories feel like they add more overall to other things. So that's probably just why they have a bit more weight. But in terms of the quality of them, like these shorts are just so awesome. I love them so much. Stunning. They're very much like, if you like Tales of the Jedi, you're gonna like this. I really don't see how you couldn't. Like it's very much in the same vein again, just picking two different other characters, and which I sort of can't spoil, but there's some awesome moments. And I just love this format of storytelling for Star Wars. I feel very passionately about it. I think more so than a lot of people just like, oh yeah, cool, new shorts. They just binge them in an hour and a half, and they're like, oh yeah, cool, I'll take Star Wars, whatever. Like I don't know. To me, they're like, I think of them much higher than that. I think they're like, honestly, like the future of Star Wars storytelling in some way. Like obviously, movies or whatever, but I think like keep exploring these, please. Keep making these. I think there's a lot of really great stuff they can keep doing in this area. So I think they're really important to animation and stuff. And I think at this point it's pretty obvious they're going to keep going. So the question of what they're going to do next just keeps exciting me, And Kevin Kiner, killer as always, never fails. So yes, okay. We got to talk spoilers when you do watch it, Jaden. But what did you watch this week?
Not a whole lot, but I did. Young Justice was recently added to Netflix, so I've been going through that. I was rewatching season 1 a while ago, and so like I picked up and rewatched season 2, and I'm now finally into news territory because I don't know if you know the history of the show, but
it was cancelled.
It got cancelled for like 7 years, and then season 3 was published in like 2019, but it was only on like the DC like website service or whatever. And season 4 has now been put onto HBO Max. So I'm still good at like, even after this, season 4 is still going to be disconnected, but I'm like loving it so much. Like this show, well, as a kid, I love the show so much, but like even now, like one of the things like I appreciate most about it was that like its roster of heroes that it has, and like it has like time for everyone, and like it's got such a diverse, like it's not just, like you have your main 6, but then every season the main 6 changes, and like they move, and because like there's massive time skips. There's a 5-year time skip and there's a 2-year time skip. So like the changes in the team, and then like the people that are introduced episode to episode as like, your kind of hero or villain of the week, they're all like, I don't know, it's diverse and interesting. So like I love that aspect of the show, but it's also just a great story that they're telling. It kind of feels like it's kind of mirroring the path of Clone Wars, where like after the first season, it's taken like it seems like it's developing a more mature tone while still like maintaining its kids show stance. And you kind of tell it because like this third season has like a massive increase in like injury detail, as Netflix puts it. And I guess they got away with that because it was on the DC website thing streaming. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm loving the characters. Yeah.
I've like never watched this show, but I'm obviously familiar with it. Like, to what extent do the parents come into it? You know what I mean? Like how old does Batman have a kid in it? Oh no, well yeah. Wait, how does that work? Or is it like Nightwing or some shit?
No. So like the Justice League exists,
yes,
and then the Young Justice is like the team. They're not called Young Justice in the show; they're called the team in the show. Right. And it's like of their their sidekicks. There's no kid Batman.
Oh, hang on. But aren't some of them their kids? Oh, shit.
Well, so, like, I mean, Superboy's a clone. Miss Martian's like a niece. Robin's an adopted kid. Kid Flash is not actually related to Barry Allen.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
In my head, I just thought they were all kids for some reason. That actually makes more sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Justice League are just like their regular selves. They're not like old or something.
Nah. But like this, I was looking at like they've explained away like the Earth that exists in weirdly, because they designated it Earth 16 early in the run, but then they found out that Earth 16 is already occupied as like a as a DC universe. So then they had to make it so that the show exists within Earth 16 as a TV show. So that's like it's like without having to retcon it, which is like super weird. Why they couldn't just change the Earths, because like that's all like the way. Like
Right.
no one really
Right.
bets an eye on that. But yeah.
Yeah.
Show's a lot of fun, though. It's good. It's great. It tells a great story.
It was one of those ones that played on like 9Go back in the day, right?
Yeah. Every day after school, man. I used to watch that shit.
Yeah. That was our generation. Now comes the segment where we hand the show over to you with our question of the show. Last week we asked you, what is the best instance of a character being played by multiple actors in the same movie? Andy said, 3 actors was the best I could find without using the Imaginarium of Dr.
Parnassus?
Parnassus? Oh, yeah.
Parnassus?
That's right. Yeah.
Also a movie where Heath Ledger plays one of the multiple characters.
In that movie?
Yeah. Wasn't that his last movie, Parnassus?
Oh, yeah. Wait, hang on. What the?
Maybe. I don't know. One of his last movies.
Yeah, no. Okay, hang on. This is okay. So I've never seen this movie, but it's just come to my attention. Wait, this is so weird. Oh, Heath Ledger and Johnny Depp and Colin Farrell play the same character. Oh, and Jude Law. Wait, what?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Well, I think I don't know if it was originally because
meant to be like that.
Heath Ledger died or if it was intended like that, but I think the story is that it's like that because Heath died. But knowing Terry Gilliam, it's like it could be either because Terry Gilliam is kind of a wacky filmmaker, you know. So. Oh
yeah, he's the goddamn Monty Python guy, right?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that's that actually makes sense with the timing. So like that's actually quite a creative way to handle his passing then. Anyway, sorry, Andy continues. The interstellar answer can be someone else's. So I'm going to choose Pi from Ang Lee's Life of Pi. That's a good one. I like that. The older guy who plays Pi is cool. I think he passed away, but he had great screen presence.
What's
for
it?
Sure.
It was Imran Khan, something like that.
Yeah, that sounds right. Something like that. That sounds right. And then Luke says Nick Cage in Face Off. Isn't that so? Oh god, is that a spoiler? I haven't seen the movie. I don't know, but I thought it was Nick Cage and John Travolta playing this. Oh,
and then if you read down, you see that Andy filled out John Travolta.
Oh, I'm stupid. My apologies. Yes. But hang on. So I guess by the fact that Luke just said Nick Cage, does he prefer? Is Nick Cage? He must prefer Nick Cage over John Travolta. Maybe.
Don't know.
Possibly. Okay, so now we got our answers. We searched high and low. I think we all do actually.
I saw a message pop up from Andy like pretty late, saying something about Face Off as being an answer as well. Did you see that or not?
Oh, revised answer: Sean Archer and Troy Caster in Face Off.
Yeah, sorry.
Are they the villains or something?
I don't know. Yeah.
Sorry.
No clue.
Cool. Thank you, Andy, for that. Okay. He got in there right at the end though. So, is anyone going to do the interstellar answer as Andy thinks we will?
No.
I'm not either. But who can you do? Oh, Murphy's played by 3 people.
Sure.
Yeah, I guess that would be my answer for Interstellar. That's a good one.
Timmy Chalamet and Casey Affleck.
Yeah, I prefer Timmy and Casey.
I feel like Timmy doesn't get a lot to do in Interstellar. Like, not a criticism at all, but I just feel like he's not in it enough for me to really think, oh yeah, that's great. You know, I mean, Casey's great, obviously, but okay. Anyway, so obviously the answer is Vito Corleone in The Godfather Part 2.
I warned you, Zach.
Well, it's obviously the correct answer, Jaden. I can't believe you. So do you actually
what? They got to be the same.
Sorry. What? Yeah. What?
2 people playing the same character.
2 people playing the same character.
In the same movie.
But Vito. Wait.
Played by
Marlon Brando's not in.
Oh, Marlon Brando's not in it.
I get fucked. I told you, Zach. I fucking told you.
It's Al Pacino's not Vito.
So stupid. Yeah, no, yeah. That's so funny. In my brain, I was just like, oh yeah, 2 people play Vito. I know that. And The Godfather Part 2 has flashbacks and flash forwards. So therefore, and just like, wow. Okay. Wow, I know that film clearly very well. So, okay, fuck it.
Yeah, say it's better than the first one again. You can't even remember that point.
Well, it is. I can't believe you, dude. You got to rewatch that movie, by the way. I can't believe
I'm not subjecting myself to that.
You're so steadfast on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
On your hate for it.
Mm.
Okay. How do you guys feel about this one? I said, because there's, I think you'll like it though, but there's some wriggle room. I said Isla Fisher and Amy Adams in Nocturnal Animals.
Oh.
Because they're not
It's
technically
like
the same character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're meant to be the same character. That's the point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I can allow it, I guess.
Thank you. Yeah, I thought you'd like it.
I mean, no, they're not really though. They're not really similar in any way, except they're both redheads. You know. Like,
well, and they're spouses. Spouses of
Jake Gyllenhaal's character. Yeah.
They're meant to be the same character. That's the idea, right?
But I feel like Isla Fisher in that film was like bouncy and like energetic, wasn't she? And like, Amy Adams was like a serious, more serious person.
Yeah,
yeah, and in like, fucking I'm Not There, you know, Bob Dylan's a cowboy and a black kid. I mean, like, what are you trying to get at? You know?
Yeah, but I don't think Nocturnal Animals is doing the same thing as I'm Not There. But
okay,
yeah,
I don't like how much you're pushing back on me. So you can go next, Liam.
Well, my answer is kind of similar to yours.
Yeah.
This is not a good answer because I couldn't really find a satisfying one. But I'm thinking of Ending Things. Jake, you know, played by the old man, and the young Jake, who in I'm Not There fashion has like multiple not personas, but he has multiple like roles, I guess. You know, he's a physicist and he's a poet and he's a biologist and all that. But you know, young Jake and old Jake are the same person. So
wait, sorry,
I hardly remember this film, to be honest.
Same. So hang on. So is it Jesse Plemons and then the janitor? Is that who it is?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Same guy.
Yep. No, okay. No, that's fair. That is valid. That is valid.
The most interesting kind of use of the technique that I have put up is Looper, where like you know Bruce and Joseph and going at it.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah, but I think like my actual answer is just like a simple time skip one. Well, first off, like the one I was talking about before show about being like a good one, it was Moonlight. It's not my answer because I'm not a massive like Moonlight guy, but I think Moonlight's a good example of it. Just like 3 iterations of the character. But my answer is The Haunting of Hill House, so I'll go the TV route.
Okay. Where that opens up a whole new world for sure.
Yeah, like those kids in that series are exceptional at playing the and the adults alike, and like at keeping the same mannerisms and keeping the relationship between the kids, like I don't know, between each like Haunting of like the Crane family kids as well as like I'm not talking about the kids actors that they nail it. Sorry, they nail it. Yeah.
That's good. How do you feel about Dark?
You know how a few months ago I said I'll get around to watching Dark. I have not gotten around to watching.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like there's some good ones there. Some good casting there.
I think did they introduce it at the start? Because thinking of like the first 3 episodes, I think they do flip between times early, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they go in. They don't really hold. I mean, end of the first episode, I think, is when they do it, and then it's just sort of no dramas from there. Okay, very very good. As always, we'd love you to submit your responses, thoughts, and/or reviews for next week's film in the YouTube or Instagram comment section, or join the Discord server. This week, the specific question we'll be asking you is: who is the best all CGI character in a movie? Let us know. All CGI character. Now, to be clear, like, the voice, I don't know. I don't think there's been any fully CG voices, AI voices, that are also played by a CG character, as far as I'm aware. So it just means the visual of it. You understand. I didn't need to explain that. Okay. That's it for this week's episode of Cinema Effect. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Fitzy, What are we doing next week? Where are we going?
We're continuing our Apes franchise, of course.
Oh yeah.
With Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I actually have an inside view on this film because I met a set decorator or something. It was a brief interaction, but we have inside knowledge. So
shout out.
Bring it's at the cinemas. So
go see it.
Yeah, if you want, go see it.
I'm very curious about this because I haven't heard any reviews, but just based on the trailers and stuff, like it could, I've just got no. I'm excited to see it, but like I've got no read on like this could end up being dead last or number one for me. Like it just could go anywhere. You know what I mean?
I just saw a thing saying that the producer's dreaming of 5 more sequels. So
oh really?
Yep. So
it
could end up fucking dead last after 5 of them.
Possibly, yeah. Oh my god, this will be like the longest running like come back to every 5 years franchise that we have. Okay, that's it. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Appreciate Liam and Jaden for joining me as always. Have a great rest of your week, and goodbye.